that to me makes it kind of in a league of its own when it comes to the stuff. Now, I see that it's always getting compared to like the MPC-1. That seems to be its main counterpart. I don't think the Live is somehow in the same argument. I don't know if people put any other of the gear in the same category, but one thing about it is that this thing sounds like really good, right? And once you get past the Verselab editor stuff, like I'm going on a trip pretty soon, and I'd like to take my MV, have it in the room with me. But if I don't take the MV, let's just say I got something in there and I want to dump it. So I'll open this. I got a song going in my MV1, but I can't bring it up. Don't want to lug it together. So I tap into the MV1 mix option once I do the vendor or generic protocol to hook it up to the iOS. And you can do this with your phone as well. So I'll have my phone with me, but just this for now, right? And I have a little track in here, and I just two-tracked it. So I'm gonna show you what I started with. Now, I want to go back to what I said earlier. I said we'd get back to. This thing just sounds so good that you can simply just make beats on it, or just they got you covered. The sounds are really polished, and some people say that like it's a bad thing, like it's a bad thing to like presets. Like who wants to sit around designing sound for hours? If you enjoy that, that's great. I enjoy it in the sense of taking a sound and making it malleable, or just making it into what I want to. If that requires some sampling synthesis, then that's what I'll do. But if it doesn't need it, then I don't need to need it. I don't need to do it. The MV1 Verselab has one of those things where a lot of the presets are just so good, you just go off and running on a beat making tangent. You know what I mean? But anyway, you have an option, something that we wish the MV8000 had years ago. Just think if the MV8000 could have just hooked up to your laptop the way this is now hooked up to this right here. You know what I mean? It's just cool, right? So I got a track that I put in here. You guys have probably heard me do it before. And this is what I put into it. Okay, so I think this thing is all the way up. Okay, so remember now the sound card to the iOS device is now the MV1. So that's how the outputs are coming in. So anyway, you hear how quiet it is right here, right? Let's pump it up a little bit. So I added some EQ, added a spatial mix plugin I have, and added the Zenbeats limiter. Now the only thing that I will probably do in earnest is I would pull that string up more. There's some strings back there that right here. So I would bring those strings up some next time I record it, and I'm going to address that in a minute. But I want to show you that I also put a Z1 track on here. So if I went to that track, to my keyboard, I got to turn it up a little bit here. hooked up the ZR1, the ZC1 synth on the next track to go ahead and start adding stuff to there. So that's a 2-track in. Came in on here. Let me go. So you use the mix track right here that you got as an input in one in stereo in, and you open up an audio track and you record the whole track. Now I could have just as well muted certain parts and just recorded that audio directly into each track, and then just built that track based off on the one, boom, boom, over and over, using the stereo mix to just record on each track. Just add an audio track, add an audio track. For this, for all intents and purposes, I just did the stereo track, made a few adjustments on it, like I told you. Just kind of did some, just basically did some volume and EQing. I did EQ and a little cutting and boosting. And then this is this plugin I have on here is called a spatial mix. I applied that and made a couple adjustments, and then just did a Zenbeats limiter to bring up the presence a little bit, and got this. Now if I quiet it back down to what it was, let me show you what happens. Now that you've heard it with the volume and stuff on it, right? This is what came in. Now, here's all the stuff that you use on here that you get with the version of Zenbeats that I have. This is what I have access to. Now, this is something else, some iOS device specific plugins for audio. Some of them are quite useful. Like I use the spatial mix on here. I'll use this one. The peak limiter, the sample delay. Mixer, and then there's a spatial mixer in here that I used. Anyway, these are the stuff I got with it. Like I said, I got the ZC1 lined up on another channel right here. Hit that one. Got me a synth envelope. I'm gonna add some stuff on it. So I'm on a trip. I can just give me a bunch of tracks that I did on my iPad and start learning Zenbeats. Now, it could just be me, right? But when this big ass thing came out and the new protocols made it obsolete, I swear, we had USB for the memory, and a lot of us were just like, well, damn, if we could have did the USB over audio, like, some kind of way to get this thing hooked up to the DAW, to the Pro Tools, where you could do, here it is. Here's one of the things. But it's just on this one. But most people who are not linking these two, this is made to finish work in the new way. This is cross-platform. I could turn around and export this to my Google Mail and open it up on my computer instead. I could do the same thing, which I plan on doing, opening up something and just shifting it from my MacBook to over here. I'll have both of these possibly when I go do what I do. But anyway, man, that's the Mixdown Monday today. You can take stuff like that and do this like that all the time, man. So, yeah.